Kia ora koutou, ngā mihi nui ki te papa o tēnei kura, ngā mihi nui ki te tangata whenua, tēnei rohi, ngā mihi nui ki te whānau o te atua, ihu karaiti, me te wairua tapu. Hi everybody and welcome. It's really special to be able to be here. My name is Liz and I am married to John and we have 4 children between us. And I've thought a lot about this. Lydia wrote an email to me requesting me to speak on a day when I was feeling really bitter and twisted about being a full-time parent. It's much more glamorous, as Emma said, to be a social worker. People think it's really hard to work in a detox or to set up an early intervention service for young people in a community. But actually, when my twins were 8 months old, I broke down in tears in the paediatrician's office and I said it was easier to detox 10 drunk men on my own than it is to bring up these 2 children. And it's true, it really has been. And I think I made the foolish mistake of praying for patience at that point. And so God gave me more children. Yeah. And I grew up with 2 gifts in my life. One was, well, many, but 2 that really stick out. One was being told as a teenager that success is being where God wants you to be. That's quite a significant thing when I stand at this point in my life and I feel really unsuccessful in lots of ways. If I look out into the world, I earn nothing. I don't have a job that gives me any breaks, not even toilet breaks. Apparently when you're a parent, you don't even get toilet breaks. Your clients come with you into the toilet. I don't have really any status anymore. It's in fact not worth me going to work now that I have 4 children, work as in for pay, because the childcare I'd have to pay someone else to look after them would kind of weigh that out. So I'm really glad I know that success is actually about being where God wants me to be and not about some of the other things we sometimes think it's about. The other gift I was given as a young person was going to a school where our school motto is, go smile now. There's 2 people here from my school, maybe more. Do justly, from Micah 6 verse 8. And what does the Lord require of you but to do justly, to love mercy, and to walk humbly with your God? And for me, doing justly was my sort of frantic studying of social policy and working for immigration and becoming a social worker. And the loving mercy was my journey, I guess, as a social worker, of learning how to see the best in people and just bring that to life. But the walking humbly with God part is actually really the hardest part. And what I've learned is that Christians don't have a monopoly on kindness. We're not the kindest people in the world. We can't bring people to Jesus by doing more for them, even though often things like meals and lovely things are good. But maybe what we can offer the world is our vulnerability and just showing actually how hard life is. And I've been given 3 gifts this year, and I just want to share those with you. One was a little note scribbled on the back of a supermarket receipt, and it was left on my table in the middle of the night by a guy who'd been boarding with us for a while, and he'd arrived in a dishevelled state. Some soccer club had invited him to Tower and then forgot to organise his accommodation, and we said, oh yeah, he can stay in our sleep out. And he left me this little note in the middle of the night, as well as all his leftover food, which he stuffed into our fridge. And he said, you've got no idea what it meant to me to be able to stay here. I was in a really dark place in my life, and just being around you guys, being just kind of a normal family, has really blessed me. So that's one thing. We're doing apparently nothing, because all we did was just give him the key to our sleep out and pay some really big power bills for him. Apparently little things like that make a big difference. Another gift that was given to me was this incredible quilt, which someone at my play centre had stitched for me as a farewell gift. And this lady is beautiful, but she can't always see that. And I think one of my jobs, being Jesus at Play Centre, has been to see the beauty in other people and to bring it out of them. And it's really exciting to me that she's taking on the role of president now when when she first started, she just didn't even want to put pen to paper because she was so unconfident in her own abilities. And she gave me, along with this quilt that she had stitched herself, a letter of several pages long, just saying what it meant for her to be able to turn up and hear stories about how terrible my children had been, and how, she said, every time I needed something, you not only kind of listened to me and understood, but you also gave me something to help me on the next bit of the journey. And for me, that wasn't a thing I was intentionally doing, that was just trying to listen and hear. And in Play Centre, or in earlier childhood, we've got this little saying that says, notice, recognise and respond. And I think that's kind of what God calls us to do. He calls us to notice people and to recognise what it is that they're needing, and then to respond in the way that He prompts. And the third gift that was given to me this year was a cup of coffee. And it was given to me just after I'd come out of a courtroom, and in that courtroom were myself and my husband, and also the mum and dad of our youngest child. And she was born in a family that really for generations has struggled. And she arrived on our doorstep one day for an unknown period of time, and that turns out to be forever. And during that time in court, we were formalising the fact that we would be her parents. The judge looked up and said, I just really want to comment on the fact that you're all here, and to say thank you for that. So for us, building a bridge with her parents, totally ignoring everything SIFs had told us about them and just choosing to believe that they loved her, has really borne fruit. And we've got a really good relationship with them now, which is really precious. So they not only came to this courtroom, which is a difficult thing to do, but afterwards I said, would you like to go out for a coffee? And they said, yes, please, can we pay? And here was I kind of feeling like I'd stolen this child, somehow been part of this system that steals children, because I think that's what happens and has happened in our history. But instead, choosing to disbelieve what was negative about them and choosing to believe that they also loved her has really borne fruit. And so they took me out for coffee, and Ake's mum said to me, oh, she said, this is great. This is so cool, because family won't see you as SIFs now. They'll just see you as part of the family. So I think this is just like the ministry of reconciliation in everyday life. It's just being yourself, and I'm open with them about the things that I find hard, and they see Jesus anyway.